up? What up? Welcome back to the Crown and Stitch podcast. We've been out for a minute. We had some life things hit us all, but we're back. Keith and I about to talk about some pins, some patches, some events. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, what's good, Keith? How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Definitely feels good to be back in the saddle and back recording some new content.
Yeah, man. I've been missing it. I mean, between COVID and AC being out and all this, like, just technical difficulties, just couldn't get it done. But that's how it goes. We're just rolling with the punches, and this will be a good one to talk about. I've actually been wanting to talk to you about it because I wanted to go to that event, but unfortunately didn't test negative for COVID early enough. So you went to. Well, let's wait. Let's get into what do you want? Let's start with our latest pickups, or do we want to start with what's on our head? I'm down for either.
You know what? Let's go what's on the head first, because I got a couple pickups and a couple things I want to bust out. I might have to save some of the new pickups for later too, because since we haven't recorded in a while, they're starting to pile up a little bit. So on head today, I got this is an Angels. I don't know if you can see, it's a corduroy brim. This was from Capsule, I believe.
That's dope.
I love this old school Angels logo from the 90s. It just kind of like reminds me of my childhood a little bit. You know, yep. I remember like Troy Gloss, Tim Salmon, all those players and stuff. And I always thought they had really dope uniforms back then. So they started using this logo a little bit more often. And I definitely had to scoop one of these up.
Yeah, it's a good one. Tim Salmon is a name that I definitely chased after all of his baseball cards back in the day. So, yeah, good choice. Good choice. I can't condone the Angels, but still a good choice.
Yeah.
Myself, I got the West Side Love fitted on. This is the no logos. I mean, they got the on this side, but this is the Carl the Fog kind of Bay Area inspired version. Get the black, gray upper. Yeah, just, kind of clean and simple, but that's what I'm rocking today.
I still need to pick one of those up. Is that like a heather gray?
Yeah, kind of like a dark heather gray. Yeah. Yep.
Nah, I like that. That's dope.
Thanks. So let's talk about this pins and patches expo that you went to. This is a few weeks back now, but I mean, the pics that you sent were ridiculous. We'll post them up on the Instagram, but there's a lot of stuff there. What was some of the highlights? How to go? Where was it at? Like, let's just get into all the details.
Oh man, it was honestly like a great time. I have never been to like a sneaker con, hat con, comic con, whatever con you want to mention. So I didn't really know what to expect, but it was in the city. The only downside to it, I would say, is there wasn't as much space as I would have liked. There was a ton of booths, ton of vendors. We got VIP tickets, so basically, like, they let you in through the line a little bit quicker. You get a couple, like a free pin, a free T-shirt, stuff like that. The majority of the stuff was, a lot of pin vendors, a lot of hat people selling hats, different companies there and stuff like that. It was overall just like a really great experience. Like, let me pull out the T-shirt. So if you got the VIP ticket, they gave you nice Patches and Pins T-shirt, and also they gave a matching pin here. This is like a little skull Steph Curry pin.
That's dope. And
I'm not like super huge into the whole pin thing. I see some people's hats and they're just like decked out, and they look amazing to me. It's a really cool look. It hasn't always been something I've gravitated towards, but when in Rome, like I ended up picking up a couple pins, just saw a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things too was like of course they had some higher end, hat resellers and stuff like that, but a lot of the hats and stuff they were selling were a lot more reasonable than I expected them to be. Cool. My girl was able to pick up a couple things for less than retail, and it's brand new DS, semi-hype stuff. So, it was overall, it was a great experience.
So this is like a not a local thing, right? It's like legit like travel around expo
Yeah.
type thing, right?
Yeah. So I know they had some down in SoCal. I think they're going back to SoCal now. I think, they had some on the East Coast. So it's weird because it was called Patches and Pins, but I also saw like an IG page and it was mentioning like Donnie's CapCon or something like that. So I don't know if like the Patches and Pins is just like for this specific one, or I don't know how they do that. But overall, it was for lack of a better term, it was a CapCon. It was a convention for hats and pins and whatnot.
That's pretty dope, man. I mean, I've been to a couple of I mean, I've worked at like conventions quite a bit throughout the years for whatever companies I work for or brands that I might be working with. And I've been to there's like a pin expo down in Southern California that happens like I think monthly or every other month or something. It's actually I think it's run by Kai, who kind of does marketing for one of the toy manufacturers that's down there, and
Okay.
it was super dope. It seemed like just from the pictures and how you're describing it, seemed completely different though. Like there was no fitteds. It was very like art focused on the artist, the creator of the pins. But it really opened my eyes to the world of pins, and I'm the same as you. Like I don't necessarily want to wear them on my hat, but I definitely like them a lot and have collected a decent amount over the years. But I just don't, when it comes down to it, like I just don't throw much, and I don't throw really any extras on the hats when I'm wearing them. But it's cool to hear that it was actually more, hat focused, just because I feel like there's a slight difference between like, like for instance, a friend of mine has a design studio that she runs out of San Francisco. It's called Minimal Lust Studio, and they do a bunch of like, San Francisco oriented stuff and just kind of like pop culture stuff. So you can get like chicken and waffles pins and Hella, like Golden Gate Bridge in the fog pins, that kind of stuff. And so like I kind of jumped in with that kind of stuff, and they're a lot smaller, right? Like they tend to be, a little bit different than the hat pins. Like they're a little bit thinner too, from a lot of the things that I've seen the collectors. There's also like tons of, like Star Wars and any of the like Disney stuff, Harry Potter, like all these like kind of like artists do like a take on whatever that thing is that they're passionate about. So it's a lot different, kind of than what you're talking about, where it's way more focused on, the hat kind of community, which is super dope. And it just makes me wish I could have gone, because, it seemed like there was just a lot. Like the booths, were they like more like stores that just showed up with a booth, or do you think it's like resellers, or was it just like people, were there booths where people were just selling patches and pins?
Yeah, it was kind of a mix. You could tell that there was a couple people that were just, resellers that just, brought down all their product or whatever. When I was waiting in line out front, like I saw a couple pickup trucks just pull up and they had, containers and containers full of hats, so there were some people like that. There was actually a couple booths, and I didn't really know this about the whole pin community, that there are some people that are pretty popular. Some of the booths, like I couldn't even get to the front. It was just like so packed and congested. And, I was talking to some of the vendors, and I even picked up a couple pins and stuff, and it ranged in, people with a couple hundred followers. Some of the other people that I was talking to, I went to go check them out on IG, and, they were over 100,000 followers. So there was like a huge mix, there was some people that weren't even selling like patches and pins, stickers, they had just a whole bunch of different stuff like that. But I would say the majority would probably be people, as far as the fitteds went, mostly resellers. I don't think that there was a lot of actual like stores down there. I didn't see any companies that were actually like storefronts. Maybe a couple of the ones for the pins, yes. But yeah, I would say, just kind of a combination of it all.
Yeah, that's super dope. I mean, it it just it's like no. I just wonder when it's going to start popping off and we start having more regular events like this, right? Because I think we talked about when we first started the pod, we talked a little bit about one of the events that was going on in New York City, but you don't really see like, you know, it's coming from sneakers. SneakerCon is like, you know, like the biggest world traveling, you know, convention, but then you've got like, you know, I go to Designer Con down in LA almost every year, and you know that's like we even set up a sneaker history booth one year, you know, like selling some of our merch, and that kind of stuff is like kind of like more art focused, but it's like it's big, right? Like so, Designer Con is like one time in LA, Anaheim, you know, near Disney, and it's massive, right? It's in the convention center. It's, you know, like, you know, just massive. SneakerCon is so focused on sneakers. You know, there's people selling, you know, T-shirts and you know, stickers, pins, all that stuff. But like, it's so sneaker focused. But it's interesting because that travels around to all different places, right? You know, they're based out of New York City, but like they just did one in LA and Atlanta. You know, they're kind of all over the place. And then there's kind of like one of the first ones that I ever went to was called Dunk Exchange, and you know, they did them in Vegas. When like there was a trade show or bigger trade show going on, they would have a dunk exchange out there. That did them in LA. I went to one at the Cow Palace a long time ago in San Francisco. But like it was like half people displaying their shoes, half people selling, half people kind of just like going to hang out and talk kicks. And then you had a bunch of like random stuff going on. You know, maybe they were playing basketball or skateboarding or, you know, those kind of things. It's just interesting how we're getting to this point where like everybody's so into their hobbies that like fitteds, snapbacks, hat collecting in general, so big now that we could, you know, I think it's only a matter of time before we have something that's like, cool, we're doing this once a month and we're going to travel around the country and, you know, have like a hat convention of some sort. You know, I don't know what that would be called, but like it's one of those things where like I think it's good, because that shows people that are not into it, like what the passion is about, you know, like from sneakers, right? Like, you know, I'm old enough to where like I was made fun of for being so into sneakers for a long time. Right. And then it was like turned into a career. People are like, oh, it's not so corny anymore. Right. But like a lot of times if you want to show like, you know, maybe not now because sneaker cons are kind of crazy and it's just a bunch of kids running around like holding shoes up trying to sell them. But like, if you want to really show what's going on and the passion in a very specific kind of hobby, that's a great way to do it, right? Because then you can bring in the suits, so to speak, bring in the corporate, you know, kind of people that are like, how do we get in front of these consumers, and they can see like the excitement, right? Because you're going to be there, you're going to have the music turned up loud, you're going to be, you know, shooting hoops at a booth, or you're going to be, you know, like buying, selling, trading, whatever it is. And to me, it just helps grow the whole thing, you know, for better or worse, right? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I say this stuff and then I think, man, I'd rather just have this to myself, but I'm going to try to not think that way right now.
Yeah. You know, like, I mean, COVID excluded, I couldn't ever imagine something like this happening, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And, you know, maybe COVID actually kind of sparked some of this. You know, everyone's sitting at home on their computers, you know, granted, if you still have some type of income and stuff like that, people are looking for stuff to buy and looking for hobbies and passions and stuff like that to get into. So it's like, I know for me personally, once COVID hit, I definitely got more into fitteds. I've always loved them, but, you know, it kind of, you know, gave me an avenue and just kind of somewhere to channel my focus and my passion. And, you know, now that we're kind of coming out the other end of it and, you know, people are able to gather a little bit more and, you know, get together. It was just really cool to see, you know, it was really good vibes there too. There wasn't, I don't know why I thought like this, but I kind of expected to go there. People at the booths to either be like, you know, a little stuck up or a little standoffish, or, you know, I was just kind of expecting some of the Supreme store vibes that, you know, that we hear about. So that was one of the really cool things to me, was that there wasn't any of that. You know, all the vendors were cool. As long as the booth wasn't too busy, you know, you were able to go there, talk to the people that were running it, you know, able to negotiate on prices. Even towards the end of it, well, when I left, you can tell some people were just, you know, trying to get rid of their stuff, and, you know, they were selling stuff for reasonable prices. And, you know, just the atmosphere overall was really cool, you know, and to see that many people that are passionate about the same thing in the same area like that, it's, I think it's definitely good for the community, and it's definitely cool for people to see who aren't all the way into it yet, you know, what it could be like, you know, and how welcoming some of these things can be, and, you know, might spark them to want to dive in a little deeper too.
Yeah, totally, man. And it's interesting you said that about Supreme. I think about that a lot with like skate shops, right? Skate shops and like streetwear shops in particular, like always kind of like uppity, came across uppity. And I don't think that was like, I don't think it was intentional, other than Supreme. Like, they have fun being dicks to people, I think. But, you know, it's part of that is just like wanting to know that people are as passionate about your thing as you are, right? Because, you know, skateboarding is one of those things where, like, you know, you've got to be committed to it, and you've got to really love it to be respected by other skateboarders. And I think that's, at least in my mind, that's like kind of the justification or the thought process that people go through, whether they realize it or not. And I think, you know, as you were saying that, I was thinking, you know, it's the same way with, like, you know, like sneaker stores sometimes. You know, you walk into a boutique of some kind, and it kind of just feels like, do these people want to talk to me, or do these people just want, you know, like, are they just going to ignore me? And it happens on a regular basis. You know, like, a lot of people, we've talked about that, you know, in the Discord community. And what I think that people don't realize is, like, everybody's a fucking nerd about something. And if you're a nerd about something, the best thing to do is go congregate with all the other nerds about that thing. Because then you don't have to deal with the uppityness, because everybody's just nerding out. And whether that's like fitteds or sneakers or cars or collectibles or, like, you know, Star Wars or, you know, anything, right? Movies. Like, my uncle collects movie posters from, like, way back in the day, right? Like, older than me kind of movie posters, and has a massive collection of, like, really valuable posters. And, like, there are conventions that he goes to, and it's like, this is where his people are, right? Like, they all remember all those stories, and they're like, oh, that's the you know, that one was like a limited run print of a poster that only went up in, like, certain cities. And you're like, you know, like, it's not my thing, but, like, to hear that, you realize that, like, it's the same, right? It doesn't matter if you're into, like, Mac or PC, you're still, like, into it, right? Or Apple or Android, you know, like, it's like, once you realize people have that same kind of nerding out thing. Look, we're doing a podcast about hats, and we're doing a podcast where we talk about pins and patches on hats. And, like, if that's not nerdy, I don't know what is. I don't think of it as a bad thing, right? I think of it as, like, people are passionate and they go way down these rabbit holes, whether that's, you know, hats or shoes or whatever. And the conventions, especially, like, the smaller ones like this one, where it's like, you know, kind of like, you got to know what's going on to get there. Not something that has a bunch of money behind it, you know, like SneakerCon, for instance. You know, it's fun for me. I enjoy it, but, like, a lot of people probably don't, because it's like well funded, and there's tons of people, and, you know, like, there's tons of corporate sponsors and partnerships and all that. But it's still like, you get there and you're like, you run into people that you know from, you know, years back, or from, you know, online or whatever. And to me, this is, like, just a great way to, like, connect with people in real life, to make those relationships and friendships that much more meaningful. So it's cool to hear that you said that, because I always wonder, like, how these, like, you know, I think of it as, like, hats being the main subject, patches, pins being kind of like, and stickers kind of being, like, the secondary subjects of a hobby, right? But then it's kind of, like, cool, because it flips it around. It's almost like flips it back and forth to like, you know, now people can be nerding out about just, you know, pins if they want to, and they connect with other people, and it's like, oh, you made those pins? Dope. I got to tell you about the ones that I made or the ones I'm working on. Next thing you know, you got collabs happening, you got relationship building, all this stuff. So super dope to hear that you were able to make it to that and pick up some stuff. Was there like any? So it's in the city. Was there any particular things that you noticed about people there? Like, were people? I mean, I assume there's probably a lot of Giants hats, but like, were there a lot of people wearing pins on hats? Was there a lot of like, were there any like custom stuff where people are like actually like signing people up to make the stuff or anything like that? Or was it pretty much just like bring it in, here's what we got, and do the exchange that way?
One of the things I noticed, and it kind of goes to your point as far as people being passionate, about what they're doing. And it was the fact that I was seeing a bunch of pins that were customized for certain hats or certain logos and stuff like that. This actually, we were waiting in line and, over the fence where people were inside, like I see a couple of hands reach over the top and, they're just handed us a pin over the fence, which I thought was really cool. They know everyone's waiting outside. Yeah. This is like Freddy Krueger, Jason, and just a couple skeletons on that one. I'm actually going to show you a couple of the customized pins that I saw for, certain hats. Like I had showed this as a new pickup on the other one, but if you look closely in his hand right there, it's like a little bone holding a gun right there. So it looks like he's sliding with a little gun in his hand. I saw that and I was like, man, for $10, like supporting someone else's creativity was something cool like that. My girlfriend picked this one up. She got this hat for like $45. This is the Sandstorm Stomper. And if you look at it, it has the headphones that go over his head attached to like a little phone over here. And, this is something I wouldn't personally wear. I don't think she would either, but it's just one of those things that was so cool. Like, I saw another hat with the same pin on it that can go over like a Pirates logo and looks like he's wearing headphones. And, it was just a little stuff like that like really opened my eyes to like how deep some of this stuff goes, like, and how into it and how creative so many people in the community are to be making stuff like that,
Yeah, totally. That's super dope. I mean, yeah, like that's stuff that I probably wouldn't wear, but throwing it on the shelf and having it to look at is just like that creativity is good to have around you, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was also one booth too, and they looked like hardcore Oakland A's fans, and they were doing custom bobbleheads. And so, nice. So they had a whole bunch of their stuff up, but I guess like, I don't remember. I think I got their IG. I have to check, but like, I guess they just make bobbleheads, and that, it was really cool. They had their dog with them, their kids with them and stuff. And it was just like, really family oriented and really friendly and stuff like that. And,
that's dope.
It was just cool to see, that people just came out and, like to show off what they were passionate about. And, something unique like that. Like, I know people can probably make their own custom bobbleheads and stuff like that, but to actually, see it in person and see the hard work that goes into some of the stuff like that, was another selling point for me that would definitely make me go back to something like this and, want to check out what they would have the next time.
Totally. Yeah. You don't really think about that, like, of course, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, somebody's probably done that. But then like seeing it is like, oh shit, like they're actually doing this. Like, this is dope, So yeah, that's dope, man. Well, let's do you happen to know the Instagram account?
For the custom bobbleheads?
No, for the expo itself. I'm just going to shout them out.
It's at Patches and Pins Expo, I believe. Let me look and see if I can find it real quick, because there was that one, and like I was saying, there was the Donnie's Capcom, I believe. Okay, hold on. The Capcom was Capcom Official on IG, and Patches and Pins was Patches and Pins _Expo. So those seem like the two people that were hosting it, and who it was ran through and all that. So they did an amazing job, and it's something I would definitely look forward to going back to anytime they have it here in the Bay again.
Cool. Yeah, man. I'm definitely going to try to make the next one for sure.
Yeah,
All
we need
right.
to get you and Dexter out there.
Yeah. Maybe we could get a booth and do like a live pod or something. That'd be pretty dope.
That would be cool. Ben from Hat Club was over there, like a celebrity snapping pics with people and stuff, and everyone's bum rushing him. But really cool dude. He stopped, talked to us for a minute and stuff like that. So it's just cool to see people that I've only personally seen on social media and stuff like that. Showing up, showing face, and kind of mingling with the people.
Yeah, man, that's super dope. That's super dope. All right, well, now that you got me curious as to what you've been picking up since we've been off for a couple weeks, let's break out the new pickups.
Let's see. I showed off those two. This was one my girlfriend picked up too. This is the Skull Chief. This was from I think this was a Cyberpunks collection from Hat Club. Under retail, they had a bunch of stuff at one of those booths. Close to when I was leaving, I didn't want to leave empty-handed with just some pins. I kind of felt like I had to pick up a fitted, so I picked up this nice khaki colored Royals hat. This, I believe, was I want to say a Sneaker Town release, I believe, and also slightly over retail, but after tax and shipping and stuff like that, I would say right about retail. And I've seen that same hat online going for $120, $130. So I was definitely glad to. Yeah, I love that colorway. It's nice. The red and the khaki definitely pops on that one.
Yeah.
What about you? You got any new pickups?
So I didn't pick it up, but my girlfriend picked up a little something for me. This will give you a hint.
Ooh.
Orange Crush Hat Club. But let's see here.
I really like those ones.
Yeah, oh, it's so good, man. Got the 1961 All-Star on it. The 3-color on the back, as Dex would say. Got the navy guts in there.
Oh, that's navy too, huh?
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, this is like, I guess no, my bad, it is black. Navy out on the outside though, like all the additional, and then the squatchy.
The navy squatchy.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like a good combo for me, especially. I mean, one, this is like kind of like Gulf, the like gas brand, which is a big sponsor in racing, so I could see it going to that. And then probably next episode, I'm gonna have to wear some kicks that I actually just picked up, some like Asics kind of trail runners that are basically these colors. So kind of a no-brainer. But that was a gift from the girlfriend this last week. So thank you.
That's super cool. There you go. I saw a lot of mixed reviews on that collection, and like when I saw some people hating on it, I'm like, man, that sounds crazy. Like those hats look like they pop. It's such a beautiful combo of colors and stuff like that. I'm definitely a fan of those.
Yeah, man. I can't really figure out like the formula of like what people like and what people don't. And to me, it's just like, if it's good colors, I mean, the hardest part for me is like seeing teams that I wouldn't wear the hat, but I love the colorway or the release. And like, if there's not a Giants one included in there, or maybe an A's one, it's like, all right, well, gotta pass on this one. But like, it's not consistent. Sometimes I see colors or themes and I'm like, damn, those are going to be gone in a heartbeat, and they sit. And then other times I'm like, oh, that's too much. Nobody's going to really care for that, and it's gone right away.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I feel like some of the people that are hating on some of these collections are like the same type of people that you see on like Instagram or Twitter, like 5 minutes after an album drops, and they go, oh my God, this album is trash. It's the worst album I've ever heard, and it's like, they didn't even have enough time to listen to the whole thing, but they're just throwing shade to throw shade. So,
totally.
I'm sure you can't appease everyone, but to me, that hat is a winner in my books, Nick.
Thanks, man. Definitely appreciate it. It's up there for me. I mean, anything orange and blue. I mean, it's funny because I've probably bought like 2, 3, maybe even 4 variations of orange and blue Giants hats over the past like few months, which I've shared on previous episodes, but I keep finding new versions of it. So it's all good. I'm good with people not jumping on everything. It gives everybody a chance to get something. So, but anything else we gotta talk about before we get out of here?
I have a kicks and fits. I don't. Do you have one?
I don't
one
have
handy
one,
or not?
You should roll with it.
Okay, I'm gonna pull one out real quick.
All right.
This is Burgundy Angels. Why can't I think of the collection? It's crossover. So it's basically like the Anaheim Angels hats with the same color as the Anaheim Ducks. So you got the teal with the burgundy, and for the kicks, the Amamier Jordan 1s. I feel like this is a hard burgundy to match on this one because it's like almost like a brownish burgundy. It's really dark. I have a couple other burgundy hats, but that's the only one that I found that actually like the burgundies match up perfectly.
Yeah, man, that's a good one. I actually, I think it's the crossover. There's like a Sharks Giants crossover that I really would like to get, but I haven't seen one in my size. So it sold out when it came out right away, and I didn't think it was going to be popular either, of course. But anyway.
I'll definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about it for this episode. Shout out to Dexter. Got some stuff going on, doing his thing. He'll be back soon. And make sure you give him a follow. Smooth as Eggs on all the platforms. SMOOVASEGGS.
Ooh.
And check out his industry special podcast. We'll link that in the description so you can catch him on that as well. But Keith, let them know how they can find you, man.
You can find me on IG and Twitter at Keith the Sneak with 2 Ks at the end. You can also find me on Facebook if you want to. More importantly, follow Crown and Stitch. You can find us all there.
Yes, sir. At Crown and Stitch on all the platforms. You can follow myself at Nick Engvall on all the platforms. You can join the Discord with the first link in the description below. That is the Discord for Crown and Stitch, Exhaust Notes Podcast, Sneaker History Podcast, and we've got some more in the works, which we'll tell you on a future episode. But thanks for rocking with us. We appreciate all of you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.